Hey guys, welcome back to a little good news, spreading God's good news, if only a Saturday at a time. I'm, of course, your host, Isaiah. It has been a very, very long 6 months, almost a Sherlock-level hiatus, and if you're a fan of Sherlock, you understand that reference. But it's been a really busy 6 months. Or 6 or 7 months, if my date is correct. And I just wanted to, first off, apologize for the long, long hiatus. It hasn't been because of God. I haven't felt the tug of God in my life. It hasn't because I just really didn't like what I was doing here and quit. I've wanted to do the podcast several times, a lot over this 6 months. And all of this was simply because we changed cable providers. Back in February, when the last episode hit, which I think was like episode 13 or 14 or so, we changed cable providers. And since my desktop PC, where I do this little podcast on YouTube, connected, my internet I got my internet from the cable provider box, long story short. And when we changed, the back of the new box didn't have the LAN cable attachment. So I didn't have internet on my PC. And it was like, well, sugar. Well, the only way to get internet on this PC then was to buy a ridiculously long LAN cable, run it up all the way from my room over to the modem, which is a decent distance, through walls and up into the attic and yada yada. It was going to be a difficult job. It was going to be more of what I'd expect an electrician to do. And it would not have been fun. And it would have been just painstaking, and I don't know if it really would have worked that well. And if, I've only seen 50 feet. You guys may be able to get longer. We've only got 50 feet around here, and I didn't know if that was going to be long enough. But anyway, we are back. And during the 6 months, I have not been idle. I have been researching new topics, trying to get more information on certain things. I've looked through with pastors over certain materials. I've not been idle, and I wanted to give an apology of kind of the last 6 months, as well as give kind of an outlook on what this new, I'm calling it this new season will be. And since we did have a hiatus, I'm just gonna do kind of a season 2, where last year it was a season 1. This one is season 2, first things off, I've looked at all my past videos, and the ones that are doing the best is the really good science-based ones, which I love to do. I love to dig, and I love to really get into things. And that was the Armor of God episode, as well as the last episode, which was the Science of the Crucifixion, which I absolutely adored to do, as well as, if you are down in kind of the southern area or just anywhere else, look for a new book. It's by Dr. Hamby, and it is all about the science of crucifixion. He spent way more time than I ever did, and it is a real eye-opener in the science of the crucifixion. But anyway, so that's going to be coming up, more science-based episodes, because that's what I saw you guys liked. Of course, there is the one oddball episode, which is the Tim Hawkins episode, which apparently I think was clickbait for most people. I kind of do apologize for that. But I mean, if I really did get 192 views on just that one video, that's great. I've looked at the numbers. It doesn't look that way. Another thing that will be coming up is a new intro. I know I'm working on a new intro right now. First time I did it, it was like episode 4 or so, and it was like, man, this sounds really good, sounds really professional. And then about the 7th episode, I just drag it in, and it was like, I don't want to listen to this thing. It's terrible. It gets annoying after a while, and I understand that, and so I'm going to try and make it less annoying and more of kind of a catchy tune. I've got some friends that are more musically talented than I, working on kind of a new intro. She will do the best that she can, and that is quite amazing, to be honest. Another thing that's going up is we have a very, very possible co-host. Now, this co-host may not appear all the time. It just may be in little segments here and there, but it'll be nice to have a kind of a person to bounce off of. I've been wanting to do it since the beginning. I've wanted to get into a group of just people and ask them questions, ask them their perspective, because my perspective is not always the right one, nor is it definitely not the only one out there. And people view things in very different ways, and it's very interesting to get their perspective of Christ and his love and his grace and how they've experienced that in their lives, as well as just some of the questions that they ask that I always thought is, just that was that's kind of a intuitive thing, I guess. But for a lot of people, that isn't, and for something that I have to ask for, it's intuitive for them. It's a bounce back game, and it's going to be really good. And hopefully, the co-host will agree. We're working things out right now. The third thing that I wanted to announce is that we will do this kind of in seasons. I kind of like the idea now that I've thought about it for a while, that we should have like a month hiatus, maybe a month and a half hiatus, where I can kind of stock up on ideas, research some new ones, kind of get all my stuff together for a new season, as well as just kind of give me a break, because believe it or not, it takes a good amount of work to put out this podcast. And now that I'm a junior in high school, time is a very, very precious commodity, especially free time that I have, since this is the last year that colleges look at, and I've taken some pretty difficult classes this year, which, not complaining about, but this should be a very, very interesting year, not only for me, but for the podcast. That seems about all the things that would really impact the show. Another part of this thing that I really wanted to say was I wanted to thank you guys. None of this would have been possible if I hadn't got the support out. I don't care if I get 110 views or 11 views. I still feel the pull on my heart that I need to do this, that God is putting this out there for people to see. And that's good enough for me. If I reach one person that needs to be reached, I am just dip-dandy happy. I am exhilarated. Because when you think about pastors, you immediately think about a man on a podium standing before a congregation. And yes, that is it's worked for thousands of years to reach God's people. But many people don't go to church anymore. It's astounding how many people they don't like church. They've been given a bad taste in their mouth with Christianity. And Christians have really developed a bad image through the internet. And we just haven't amounted an offense for that. Many people have a bad connotation with Christians because of, I wouldn't say fake Christians, but people who don't really accept the love of Jesus Christ and want to share that back with people. They, I hate saying this, but many people think they're above, because they're a Christian, they're above people. And that's not at all what God called us to be. And so through this, and I'm hoping through other pastors that will be finding the internet and that will be gathering resources to get onto the internet, we'll actually be able to increase our image, that would help us reach more people, because that's really the goal here. I want to share God's love with as many people as possible, and that's been my mission statement since day one, to educate and equip those who are called and those who just need a hand. If you watch the really weird first episode, you guys can see that. But I really want to thank you again for all the support. I'm hoping and I'm praying and having faith that this is really imprinting something onto you guys, that you guys should share or whatever. So thank you once again, and remember, be blessed.